I want to start the conversation off by laying a little bit of a framework for the discussion moving forward. So the thing I'm looking to establish is where we find ourselves today when it comes to display technologies in the corporate sector, in the workplace. Umar, at Bloomberg, obviously display technologies play a really influential role. They're really important to what you guys do. So what does the technology deployment for displays at Bloomberg look like right now?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm sure we are all very well aware of the disaster when the COVID came into our world, right? The AV world itself in 2020, and everything changed to a so-called hybrid world. So, you know, before COVID, we used to have standard meeting room, conference room with standard displays. I mean, we still used to have a lot of technologies like interactive, blah, 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 all those things. But I think COVID has changed drastically the whole situation, how AV works. And it went more to hybrid situation in terms of this. And there were a lot of implications, especially for us. I mean, we used to have our own customized video conferencing platform, which we used to call Nexi, which was completely customized based on our specific requirement needs. But then when the COVID came in, I think all the expectations from user and for us as well, I mean, from AV team within Bloomberg changed quite dramatically. And again, during that period, I mean, there was not very huge changes in terms of displays for us, to be honest, but it was more on the software-based system. I mean, we were looking at a lot of different platforms available right now in the market. I'm sure you're well aware. I'm not going to take any of those names, but there are a very big market leaders. So we try to collaborate with them. We try to understand our own user expectations as well. So it was really like more on webinar and then streaming and on all those areas, to be honest. But as we are moving back to the kind of normal, but again, for Bloomberg, we are very big advocate of in-office. So we are really recommending, or we are really suggesting all employees to work from office, to be honest, rather than, I know there has been a lot of discussions about we should work from home, we should work from here or there, blah, 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 which is fine. But I think for us, we really encourage to make use of our workplace. And then we are just trying to make it more innovative in terms of AV technology itself. So back to your question, yes, I think there has been a big change in terms of the display technology as well. So we are looking at more towards, more interactive direction for the users, to make it more helpful or to make them more fun factor rather than just connecting and using those displays in meeting rooms. And again, we have a huge number of meeting rooms and auditoriums and MPRs where we do use these display technology, but I think it's going to change and evolve with I'm still going to say like Microsoft Teams and all these bigger brands who are just trying to sell their systems or their solutions to the environment. So I would say this is going to be the future for us, at least. We will be in office. We will be staying in office for sure. We are not moving anywhere virtually or work from home. Yes, there will be still here and there, but we are not. I mean, I hope I answer your question.
Yep. Thank you so much, Umar. That's very insightful. Junwen, from GVM's perspective as an integrator, right? What were your clients asking for in the past 2 years? What kind of solutions were they coming to you requesting? What kind of work have you done? Where do we find ourselves today?
Right. Like traditionally, big spaces like the auditoriums, the boardroom, and some other experience centers, they are moving away from projectors. A lot of LED requirement now. As you know, LED, the lights, the brightness of the LED are all controllable. So so it's easier to fit into any ambience lighting environment, right? So and then for LED technology, they also provides like moving away from bezel-less, so no content is being cut off or no words is being cut off when projecting a image to it, right? And then of course LED is very customizable. There's no size constraint, so whatever room size, whatever requirement, LED, we can custom to that size. So it's a very flexible and very innovative technology that we implement for our client these days, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Talung, a lot of feedback from both the end user perspective and the integrator perspective. Like, they're talking about transformation as a whole. They're talking about video conferencing. They're talking about the fact that the office is still very important. What is Barco's take on where we find ourselves today, and how does that feed into the solutions that you guys are creating for the market?
Thanks for having me. I think I can't agree more on what Umar as well as Mark have shared, right? I think the 2 years of COVID lockdown and forcing most of the humans to really work from home. And now that it's slightly getting more contained, whereby the enterprises are getting back to work, right? So what we are observing is that there are really two school of thoughts and two different work policies. While one end, you will have the enterprises and businesses trying to encourage the workforce get back to the office, but there are also the other camp who are really still embracing hybrid workplace. But either of the approach is really in trying to relook into the workplaces, and the workplace transformation is really the buzzword in the past 2 years, right? Despite whether be it in the hybrid workplace environment, the businesses is really relooking into how to re-energize the workplace, creating more harder space as well as collaboration spaces, right? To allow the employees to really interact and to co-work with employees, be it on-site or be it virtually. For businesses who really encouraging all of their employees to get back to the office, they too are really reimagining the workplace and re-energizing and redefine the workplaces to see how they can provide a better workplaces to really curate a better experience to encourage more collaboration between the employees. As such, the workplace employee or even the real estate are really starting to relook into what are the visualizations or audiovisual solutions to really beef up, right? To provide a better platform for employees to interact. So we are seeing a lot of investment being pivoted to beef up the facilities or even the AV gears to really embrace the new style of working. So as Mark pointed out, that a lot of visualization canvas being injected or rather being pumped into the workplace to encourage exchange of ideas and a better collaboration between teams.
Thanks, Talung. I want to start narrowing the conversation down to LED for a little bit. LED really is a new entrant to, I would say, in my opinion, to the corporate spaces, especially when you're looking at indoor corporate spaces, right? It's part of the transformation that, Talung, you were just talking about, right? Whether you're in the office or virtual or everything is transforming, and LED is coming in. We're seeing it really change a lot of spaces, town halls, even things like boardrooms. Junwen, you pointed out that, you know, people are now considering, from your perspectives, places where there might be projection. People are now going, hey, why don't we transition this out to LED? And I want to start the conversation off by talking about pain points. Omar, Bloomberg might not be new to using LED indoor. I'm sure you guys have been using a lot of LED before, but from the perspective of getting these LED displays up and managing them and making sure that they're working, what are the pain points that you have been experiencing in your job role when it comes to LED?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right that we are not new to this LED world. To be honest, we were using LED like many years ago. So one of our London office, we are using one of the biggest LEDs in our London office, which was is like a very huge office, and same from our New York office. as well as in Hong Kong and Singapore as well. Specifically, mostly we cover for the signage in London office, but also for the broadcast team as well. So we use a lot these LED for sure in our space. And I think I like LED a lot. Even when we started, in 20, I still remember my first LED installation. It was like 6-7 years ago. It was 0.9 mm pixel pitch. I was like, wow, that. So in a boardroom setup. So I love it. But of course, yes, I won't go too much detail. Yes, it's my personal opinion that I like it. But there again, everything has pros and cons. Of course, being pros, I would still specify a few things. Like pro is like it's flexible, as Junwon just said earlier, is flexible. The size can be adjustable, and we can make it smaller, and we can multiple aspect ratios as well. We can customize our contents rather than for the displays. We need to have some specific HD, full HD or 4K resolutions, which to me sometimes it becomes useless after we go away after a certain distance. Like 8K is a gimmick for me, to be honest. It's my personal opinion again, that after a certain distance, 8K is not 8K, it's just a standard image anyway. But yeah, I think that's the pro for LED. But cons, there have been a lot of challenges we are facing for sure. Again, it has been improved a lot for us because we have been working with multiple manufacturers from time to time. One is the maintenance itself. Those LEDs, it's there have been like front axis, rear axis LEDs, and then we have multiple ways to maintain those LEDs, right? So the biggest challenge for us was, these LEDs, they do die, right? It can be mishandling sometimes, it can be contractor, it can be our mishandling, because we use almost 24/7 these LEDs. These are not like just stay there. So, and they have a bigger impact on our customers, on our news team, on our broadcast team, right? So it is I think it's still improving, and it is a big challenge for us how to maintain them for longer term without giving a lot of hassle for our engineers on site to replace. I know there are much easier way to replace this, which we are already trying to do whatever possible with those small modules, pull-out modules, or rear accessible modules, which is fine. But still, I'm not sure how we can make it. It's getting better for sure. I'm not saying it's not getting better. It's getting better. But if there is anything better, could be, of course, is more like automatic, I would say, which we need to have least human interaction would be better, I think, in terms of the collaboration and maintain these LEDs, I would say.
Junwon, it's your job to install the LEDs. What are the pain points that you experience all the way from designing these displays and then deploying them and then commissioning them and then obviously maintaining them for your clients down the road as well?
Right. So for the system integrator pain point or the installation pain point, right, it's always about, first of all, it's about the coordination between this AV system integrator and the main con to provide the structural work, right? So that's one of the pain point which normally we take a lot of coordination and discussion and using the correct type of material and structure and sizes, right? So that's one of that. And second is, of course, when we deploy a project, audio visual system integrator are always the last to go in, right? And then, we are always rushing for time to hand over that whole project on time. And then when due to rushing, then the installation team might mishandle the LED and get damaged. We need to look for spares to get it replaced. So those are very time constraining, and it's really very difficult for us. So and then of course, for maintaining the LEDs, we always have to use the suction to suck out the LED, and then when we push it back, it got damaged. Again, it got chipped off and stuff like that. And then for the color calibration, sometimes it's not being, it's hard to calibrate to be uniform again. So these are the pain points that system integrator face, right? And then we always have to keep spares LED modules for the clients, and then when we get a replacement module, the LED lights is not the same batch, and then the color is different. So for maintenance perspective, this is all the constraint that we have, right? Yeah.
Talung, a lot of feedback from people that use LED. What's Barco doing to address these pain points?
As the market leading visualization manufacturers, right? So the moment we wanting to launch a new lineup of the LED to the market in the post-COVID era, right? We really trying to understand what are the pain points, not only from an end customer perspective, be using the display, as well as the system integrators or installers, right? To really understand what are the pain points, what are the inhibitors, what are the potential damages that cause to the LED. And what we did is that after gathering all the feedbacks and the pain points, we went back to the drawing board to really see from a customer perspective and the SI perspective, what do they really want? And not merely from a manufacturer perspective to really trying to chase after the smaller pixel pitch, the brighter of the LEDs, or what is the contrast ratio. It's never been that, right? So what we did is that after gathering all this feedback, we realized, and based on the actual data that we have, a good 60–80% of the LED diode damage was actually incurred during the installation stage. And a further 20–30% of the LED diode damage was actually during the interference as well as maintenance of the LED. Right. So that actually gives us a very solid background to really say that how can we minimize the LED diode, number one. And number two, when we say that we are honoring the number of LED spares to ensure that customers and the SI will have sufficient spare LED diode in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, or even beyond the 7 years, so that we can actually commit to the LED diode bin compatibility, right? To ensure brightness uniformity, to ensure color uniformity, and last but not least, right? And during the actual usage, like let's say what Umar has mentioned, that when they started to air, they need to make sure that if the LED really down, they are able to interchange the tiles immediately. So what we did is that we redesigned the entire mechanism to ensure that no matter how challenging it is site, there is this auto balancing mechanics to ensure that we overcome some of the site conditions to ensure the flatness of the wall. So that's number one. And number two, we also make sure that the LED modules will actually, during the installations, the shift insertion will ensure the contactless and risk-free installation to maintain the 100% flatness, not only the XY axis, but also the Z axis, so that you can overcome the inhibitors of what we call black seam and white seam that is really visible to the audience. And last but not least, by ensuring that we tackle the installations as well as the maintenance to minimize the LED diode damage, we will be able to stick to our commitment to ensure the spares of the LED that allow the end users to really operate the wall in the next 7 or 8 years. And that's the reason why we are so confident to even honor a 10 years essential care of the LED compatibility.
Yeah, great input. Before we jump off the topic, there's something that I would like to kind of explore a bit more. Omar, you said things like 8K is a gimmick, right? I'm paraphrasing here, obviously, but if you would allow me to reframe that a little bit, we're in the technical industry, right? Like AV is technical. We like these numbers, we like these figures, we understand them, we know how they make a difference in application. But to a regular viewer, these things don't matter, right? They don't care that this is a 0.8, 0.6, 0.5 mm pixel pitch. They don't care what the latency on the signal transmission is. They don't care what the resolution is. They care about the experience, right? And experience is something that's way harder to pin down. It's like, it's good or it's bad. And then when you ask them, why is it good? Why is it bad? You need to go on and on and on and discuss with them. Omar, at Bloomberg, right? Do you have this kind of approach to it? Like, this display must have a good experience. Do you look at it from that perspective rather than just like going technical specifications?
So I really agree. I can't be more than agree what you just said. Whereas, so it's pretty simple for us. For us, we go the other way around. Like normally we don't choose technology first. We look for user experience. It's the first priority. I'm sure like same for other people as well. So for us, we do have criteria to set the expectation for users as well. You know, if you ask users, oh, how was your experience using this room? They will say, okay, it was fine. But fine doesn't answer us. Fine is not enough, right? fine means what was fine. So in us, when we want to try we are trying a lot of new technologies, to be honest. We are in process of trying everything available in the market, and very open to this for sure. We are trying in terms of the video bars, displays, but I think today's topic is display, so I'm just going to stick to that. But we are trying any available new technology in the market. But back to the user experience thing, yes, we do set expectations for the user as well. Yes, there is 8K, it doesn't make much difference to the user. For them, it's just a clear picture is good enough. But for us, it's like a selling point as well from technology perspective to our in-house stakeholder as well. Hey, you know, this is 16K, this is going to be 8K, that's the future. So we call about future proofing from the user experience as well, right? So we do set up those demo spaces in our offices, right? So just to make sure we test things out before rolling out. Because for us, it won't be just one room or two rooms. It will be like hundreds of rooms in the whole APAC or global, maybe thousands of rooms. So we just try to test those devices, and we set the proper criteria. What should be the display size suitable? I'm sure those standard Infocom, I'm sure most of the guys are aware, those standard Infocom distance formulas we normally use as well. And we create all those drawings to set user expectation. Apart from that, we use a QR code method. We put a QR code in the room where we have a very simple questionnaire for user to answer those questions, not more than 2 to 3 minutes. So at least we know what is the meaning of fine. You know, what is good means good. What is bad means bad, rather than, oh, this is not good, this is not bad. So I mean, that's what we do, very basic user experience stress test, I would say, just to make use of any technology. Yes, we are using a lot of displays. Yes, we have standards for the displays as well, for sure.
Junwen, what about you when you're talking with your clients? Are they just going like, I need a 120-inch, I need 240-inch display, I need 58-inch or 65? Or are they going like, let's build an experience, let's try and figure out what the best display is going to be? What kind of conversations are you having around experience?
Right. So because, you know, due to this COVID, a lot of events or a lot of event that's hosted via webinar. So I'm getting a lot of XR studio requirement. So they want to build like a virtual studio with LEDs, you know. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting project, because LED is so flexible that we can custom any size or anything we want. And for corporate customer, there is more and more requirement for curved screens. So we can use LED to do a curved screen and to make like an immersive experience for their users or their customers. Yep.
And Talung, it's very interesting, right? Experience isn't just created by one thing. It's the whole ecosystem, it's the whole chain. I think Barco is in a particularly special position because you guys do the whole chain when it comes to creating a visual experience. How do you guys approach this focus on, you know, creating an experience rather than creating technical specifications when coming up with new products?
So it goes back to the first two questions that you raised, right? So when we redesigned this entire new series TruePix, and what we term it as a game changer of the LEDs, we first need to disrupt not only the competition, but to disrupt Barco way of looking at the LED, at the products, etc. So what we really center is really looking into the end users experience curation. I like to use the word, and glad that Uma emphasized a lot into the experience part. So the experience is really from the ground the ground level up, right? From the installations to the maintenance to the operation of the wall, and ultimately to the audiences. What is the experience by staring onto the wall, right? So there are a few things that we're trying to tackle here. I think number one is that looking at a truly seamless LED wall from an X, Y, and even Z axis to ensure that you do not visibly see the black seam or the white seam or even physical gap. And what's worse is that most of the LED were designed to have an optimum viewing distance when you are standing right in the center of the viewing for the LED. The moment you shift 10, 15, 20, 30 degrees from the horizontal field of the view, you will see that an uneven LED module will give you a black seam that you cannot overcome with a seam compensation, right? So that become visibly a chore to the audience. You could potentially missing pixels or even some information that display on the wall. So that's number one. And what we're trying to overcome here is a true flatness of the LED. Then second thing is that you talk about color uniformity. We all know that LED diode age. The moment the LED operations go into the first year, second year, you start to see ununiformity of the LEDs, whereby the color is totally off on certain LED module. So with the color calibrations and auto color calibrations, as well as the LED diode compatibility, where we guarantee up to 10 years, you can eliminate most of the inhibitors that LED has provided. And last but not least, given the LED guarantee of up to 10 years, we will have sufficient space to allow the end user to ensure the optimum image reproductions or color reproductions of the LED wall. And perhaps I did not mention a few more things, right, which I personally was amazed of what the R&D, Barcode R&D is able to churn out. The common LED technology inhibitors is that we all know that if the audience were to look at and stare at the LED wall for a long period of time, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, because of the brightness of the LED, the eyes will get strained, will get tired. And what we develop is a uniquely Barcode features here is what we call Barcode steady view, to really reduce the eye fatigue from a long hours of staring onto the LED, right? So the users will not get tired in terms of viewing and staring on the LED for a long period of time. And last but not least, another unique features that we introduce in this true pix line of LED is what we call multi-level fall over. It's actually a four-way inter-tiles connectivity, whereby the LED is not only connecting to the top and the bottom of the LEDs, but it is also connecting to the surrounding left and right. So imagine in the world of LED where 90–95% of the LED vendors will say, guess what, that we have data redundancy and power redundancy is typically dual-way interchange, right? So the moment when we said we offered a multi-level fall over, which is really a four-way inter-tiles, that's absolutely eliminating the possibility of having one LED module to go blank or go black off, right? Because the chances of getting the four surrounding tiles to be down and to go off, the probability is really very minimum, right? So that is the reason why we say that we are trying to look at how we can better curate the user experience by using the Barcode TruePix LED series.
Yeah, where we'll put Talung, you don't just have the viewer experience that you need to care about, you also have the SI experience and the end user experience to worry about as well on top. So it's like 3 different experience touch points that you guys need to take into account. We started the conversation off by kind of trying to figure out where we are today. I want to end this discussion on where we are headed. So what's down the line, what's coming in the next 6 months, what's coming in the next year, what's coming in the next 2 years. We've obviously seen a lot of transformation, right? We've obviously seen a lot of new spaces come into the corporate sector, right? Town halls, I would say, are completely different now than they were, say, 2 years ago. They've completely changed. The technology makeup has also evolved and transformed quite a lot. Let's start off with Umar. You mentioned that Bloomberg is really trialing out a lot of new technology, right? I'm sure it's across a wide gamut of product verticals, right? You're probably trying out collaboration, audio, but let's limit it to display, right? Display technologies, whether it's projection, LCD, LED, whatever it might be. What are you guys trialing out? What do you guys think you're going to need in the coming years?
Sure. I think focusing on displays part, right now we are trying out a lot of those green screen, like what XR concept right now I think it's pretty famous, where we make use of our town hall spaces. We get everything from external vendors, like a rental kind of setup for now, because as I said, originally our spaces were not really designed to compete with this COVID changes and with the time, right? So right now we are looking ahead to upgrade our spaces to give similar experience, similar user experience. For example, you know, when people were working from home for so long, for 2 years, 3 years, their cameras are very close to their faces most of the time, and they look pretty obvious and bigger on the camera, and their eye level is really like the normal eye level, right, most of the time. But when they come look back to the normal situation, people come back to the space, normal meeting room, oh, the camera is so far away, which was there for like many years, like 10 years, maybe more. But then suddenly they're back because the experience changed. The whole COVID situation has changed them. And they want to have similar experience, which we were providing them on a virtual platform. Like we were using those webinar spaces where they were have bigger exposure in terms of the body language and the face exposure and the eye level to the cameras. But in most of the town auditoriums and NPR spaces, most of them, we install those cameras to the ceiling. But then on the displays itself, it's not the same experience for the user. So for us, we are looking at to have similar experience. That's why I said I like LED a lot, because they're customizable. And yes, there are challenges for LED, you know, first thing is cost. It's expensive than displays. You need to customize a lot of, yes, is a lot of hassle. Yes, for sure. It will always be a hassle. Nothing is easy in the world if we want to achieve something new or something better experience for the user, for sure. But I still don't like projectors, to be honest. We are still using projectors in some of our spaces. Yes, we are using it. It's easier to maintain. It's just one projector projecting like 110-inch size of the projection screen, blah, blah, blah. But still doesn't give similar experience. For example, if someone is walking on a stage and projector maybe is 10,000 lumen projector, doesn't matter how many lumens they are. But I know the quality brightness is very good, but the person cannot walk in front of the screen, right? He has to stick to one place, because otherwise his eyes are gonna be blasted with the so high bright lights, right? So, and there are not so huge displays available in the markets. Yes, I just saw one guy sending micro tiles. Yes, I did use long time ago micro tiles. But again, we still see the bezel, no matter how seamless those micro tiles are. And when the bezel is there and the company CEO is speaking and his face is cut off, no matter how small or how minor it is, that is not acceptable for us at all, to be honest. For me as well. So I better use projector than cutting off the face of the CEO, CFO, whatever, whoever the person is speaking, right? So for us, we are looking forward to give similar user experience. Of course, for that, we have to not only displays, but again, we are just focusing displays now. So it's very hard. It's hard for me to just talk about displays, because we talk about black magic, those green screen concept, making use of those LED walls as well, right? So that's how we are looking ahead, and we will be doing it. So for us, we are not working from home for sure in next few years or 1 year time, even 6 months time. So that's how we are improving our workspaces to match those expectations, what we want to give to the user in terms of better user experience. And we call ourselves tech firm, tech company. So we want to be ahead of the market. That's why we are trying out almost everything. Sorry, I spoke maybe too long.
No, that's perfect. Just kind of carrying on from what Omar has shared. Junwen, what kind of requirements are coming in from your clients for projects that are just now coming onto the market, that are just maybe going to tender, that you're just competing for right now? And specifically, are there still requirements for things that have a bezel, like maybe an LCD video wall? Is that still relevant in your opinion, or are you seeing it in the market?
No, so we have a lot of clients. Okay, so like the recent one, we have some command centers requirement. So command center used to be they do the video wall, the 55-inch video wall with all the bezel. So they are also moving away from that. They are also moving towards LED, right? So yeah, I mean, LED is really, I mean, most of the tender that we have participated in, minimally there'll be 1 or 2 walls in the tender, for sure, right? For it's a corporate space or education, schools, or like what I say, command centers is all moving towards this LED direction, right?
Talung, a lot of feedback from these guys. Thankfully, you guys are kind of display technology agnostic, right? Whichever way the market is going to trend towards, you guys have something to kind of cater for that application. What are your thoughts on how displays are going to progress and what you can provide people like Umar and people like Junwen in terms of display technology and across the whole ecosystem?
It's really very interesting to really hear the sharing from Umar and Junwen. I think that there are different perspectives. And I also particularly like how you position Barco being an agnostic visualizations provider in the market. And indeed, we are the rare, probably the last man standing, right? That able to claim that we are technology agnostic. We have no dependency on any visual or display technologies, that we will only hard sell and push what we have. And indeed, we are in a very unique position that is able to offer front projections, rear projections, LCD video wall, LED video wall, you name it, we have it, right? And to top it off, we also have a series of controllers or even click share for wireless presentations and wireless conferencing. So coming back to the display, I think end of the day is for the manufacturers, we do not try to push what we have, but it's really focusing customer pain point, usage of the applications. And from there, we focus into the experience curation to really see what is the best and ideal technology that not only suits the user's requirement, but how do we further enhance the experience and to ensure that we are still budget friendly. So from that perspective, we really see the applications. Let's say, for example, Jim mentioned about control room, right? So based on our own shipment data, we can proudly share that projection is not dead. There are still a lot of critical infrastructure control room that still prefer, let's say, rear projections cube. I will welcome all the users and audiences here, right? Do drop by our Barco Experience Center in Singapore, whereby we are able to showcase all three different types of technology, from LED, LCD to even rear projections in a very bright daylight environment. And you'll be able to experience firsthand that indeed RDC is not too dim. Neither is LCD will be overpowered by LED. So end of the day, it really depending on the application and the image and the pixels that you will wish to project on the display wall to choose the right technology that suits you. And guess what? We even went one step further to ensure that we ourselves even jump into the screen manufacturing. What we are introducing a new screen called Rigiflex. I'm actually currently in Dubai dialing in from a hotel, right? So for those of you who are aware, there is a new museum that opened up in Dubai called Museum of Future. Go to Google, look at the YouTube, you'll notice that, guess what? Barco actually provide a total integrated solutions whereby we supply a gigantic screen, 5 meter height by 27 meter width, a single screen with projection mapping at the back. So in this kind of setup, you are eliminating the seams that you're talking about, the uniformity, the bezel, etc. So it's a one piece of gigantic 100 over square meter screens, right? So coming back to LED, again, we focus a lot into the user experience. Like what Junwen has mentioned, during the operations and during the life of the meeting, the broadcast, or even what we talk about, the in-house studio that is really in trend in most of the enterprises today. The users must be able to intervene and to do a hot swap of the LED module tiles, right? So what we are trying to offer here is that the technicians or even the user will be able to hot swap the LED module tile in less than 2 minutes. And the InfiniPix tool that we are offering together with the TruePix will take care of the rest of the color calibrations or even the brightness calibration, right? So we are gathering all these good features to really focusing what I keep on emphasizing is, right, curating the user's experience, not only from an end customer, but also the technicians, the installer, and the SI.
Awesome. I'm going to open the discussion up to questions from our audience. There have already been some questions that have come over, and I'm just going to address them as they come in. I think we have one for Umar, where they're kind of looking at some guidance on what your procurement process is like. How do you guys evaluate new products that are coming onto the market? How do you differentiate between them, and how do you select them? Do you have trusted like AV professional partners that you collaborate with? Do you do it in-house? What's your process like?
For us, it's mostly in-house, I think, in terms of the design part, for sure. But again, we do work with our trusted integrators, for sure, in terms of the implementation and getting the work done. But in terms of getting user expectations and looking at the market, we try to search by ourselves as much. I'm sure we are not the most up-to-date person, for sure, because we have a lot of internal stuff to be taken care as well. But that's not an excuse to stay away. But we do most of the design stuff in-house, I would say, in terms of the LED or the whole system design. The reason why we do that is because we understand our users the best. We understand our environment the best. So we know what is best for our user experience and our own in-house clients, right? Because even if we get an external consultant, it's going to take them a long time to understand the user experience, how people work, because a product cannot be suitable for every client, right? So it can be suitable for one client, but it won't work for all the clients. So most of the time, I think we do it by ourselves. But again, we do get help from system integrators, our partners. I don't say system integrator, to be honest. I call them partners because we work together to give the same user experience. Yeah. So we do work with our partners.
Talung, there are a couple of questions on the technology side. We have one from Sandeep, who's asking what's next after microtiles. I think that's more of a road mapping question, right? LED has always been defined by, there's a plateau, then there's a jump after new technology, new fabrication processes become available, and that makes the product all the better, right? And then there's a plateau, and then there's another tech jump. So he's kind of looking for guidance on what the next big tech jump is going to be, in your opinion?
So let's go back to the earlier sharing, right? Many vendors in the market are trying to chase after the technologies by offering finer pixel pitch, by offering all these bombastic spec sheets, right? That everyone to be able to claim that I'm the best, I'm the most advanced. But I think fundamentally what most of the manufacturers fail to address is that LED has been in the market for more than 15 years. It is not new. It's never been a new technologies. The fundamental inhibitor, the technology inhibitors, which is really the seams and the gaps or even color uniformity, has not been fundamentally being addressed for the past 15 years. So as I keep on sharing, right? So what Barcos has been trying to do here is that by disrupting the competitions in the market, we need to first self-destruct what we see as a LED and what are the pain points that the user face day in, day out by using the LED. And that is the reason why we are launching this TruePix, what we define as a game changer to address the fundamental in technology inhibitors that we all observe in the LED. So it's not about SMD LED, COB LED, or micro tiles. It's never been that, right? So we look into the basic, what LED is able to offer and better curate the end user experience that Omar and Junwen has been keep on emphasizing, right? End of the day, you do not want to spend your investment onto the LED, and the moment that you have bought meetings, you are seeing a black tile, checker box of the LED in terms of color and brightness, ununiformity, etc. I mean, the long list can go on and on and on, right? Yeah. But I think let's really focus on the fundamentals at the baby step before even we taking a big leap. And in my view, TruePix is really taking a big leap in addressing the technology fundamentals instead of chasing 0.6, 0.5, or even 0.4. So it has nothing to do with really micro tiles or COB and SMB, right? But really offering a truly seamless LED experience to the users.
Yeah. We're going to stay with you, Talung, because there's a specific question from Lex. Maybe he's got a project that he needs help with. He's asking about rear serviceability for LEDs, especially if you're using a touch overlay in front to maybe add some interactivity to the display. Can you help him out? Is there some guidance you can give him with regards to products that he can explore further?
Glad that he actually bring this up. TruePix is actually designed in such that allow the users to do both front access as well as rear access. So this, even if they were to opt to have, let's say, a membrane for the touch capabilities that overlay in front of the LEDs, so long there is a rear access space, yes, you can still do rear access in maintaining the LED TruePix LED series.
Awesome. Junwen, there's a question that I think might be of interest to you. We're seeing these prepackaged LED displays kind of pop in, right? It's like an LED display, but it's with a frame. So it gets rid of all the flexibility and customization options that LED offers, but maybe it's a little bit easier to install. It's maybe a little bit easier to implement. I don't know. What are your thoughts on these packaged LED displays that are kind of coming onto the market?
Right. So those LED that is on, we call it cabinet. Those are good for rental business because they need to set it up quickly and commission that system for rental purpose. But for fixed installation like corporate offices, boardrooms, auditoriums, Tiles module are better is because it's as we mentioned, it's more flexible in terms of sizes to fit into the space, right? Okay.
Awesome. Omer, you're very popular today. There's another question directed for you. It's kind of delving further into how you quantify experience, right? So they're asking about what kind of that short survey that you have with regards to the display experience. If you know off the top of your head, what are the kind of questions you're asking them with regards to, hey, how was your experience?
Sure. I think again, I'm not sure if I need to go to the whole list, but I will just try to give a very brief highlight. So when the user gets into the room, that's where the user experience starts for us. Okay, so we need to understand how was the aircon itself. So they are very basic questions. If the aircon was good, the lighting level was lux level was good enough in the room. If the display brightness was good enough for the user, the contents were visible clearly. Well, and then we have a font size. You know, we do set a minimum font size on the display as well. You know, otherwise font size even on PowerPoint or Excel can go to very minimal size. So we have a specific standard set for the font size as well. If this font was good enough for your presentation, how was your collaboration user experience? How was the Zoom connection or Microsoft Team or whatever we are using? So how was your experience using those collaboration platforms? Were there any interactive sessions? Were you using the touch function? Blah blah blah. So these are some basic, I would say. So there's and it's not very. We don't ask them to write down long lines of words. It's just yes, no, or I don't know. That's that kind of thing. You know, some people they really don't know what is lux level or brightness, blah blah blah. So they don't know, right? So that kind of basic information we try to get as much. I'm sure most of the time we don't get it, but we just try. We need data. If there's no data, we can't just sell anything without data. You know, without data, it's just a talk. Oh, this can be good. Oh, this can be good, but there's no data. We need data for everything.
Yeah, and again, right, I'm very familiar with the problems of trying to quantify experience, right? Like you mentioned, it's either good or it's bad. It's fine, it's okay, right? And then the trying to get that okay into actionable data is a skill in itself. We have some support for the LCD video wall. Basically, we talked about how the bezel is a no-go in today's world, but in support of the LCD video wall, we've got things such as heat generation, installation complexity, increased cost, human error during installation, color uniformity. All of these things kind of are addressed by an LCD video wall. I'd like to, maybe Junwen, do you still think that the bezel is such a detriment to clients nowadays that all these other benefits of, better heat management, easier to install, better color uniformity, like, does the bezel just outweigh all of these things, all of these pros?
So it's depend on the application. LCD video wall is not totally going to be phased out and replaced by LED tiles, right? So like for example, in the retail mall, the signages, people are looking at the content from a far distance, and then the content is not just about numbers or words, right? It's a huge image. I think video wall, LCD video wall still works fine, right? Right. Okay.
We've got a question from Joe. He will be familiar to at least our Singaporean attendees. He's asking about optimal pitch that is suitable for indoor use, and basically to extrapolate from his question, it's how do we move away from just talking about pitch, right? Like just saying that, hey, the best experience is created by the smallest pixel pitch, right? That's very reductive. That's very, it's simplifying something that is very, very complex. Talung, could you maybe elaborate on how integrators can start considering creating a really good experience, but not just focusing on, I've got to get the lowest pixel pitch and like the highest resolution and basically just have, you know, the best numbers?
It has combinations of factors here, right? It's beyond just the LED hardware pixel pitch, regardless whether it's 0.6 pixel pitch or even 1.2 or 1.5. It has everything to do with the image processing behind in upscaling and downscaling the image. And nevertheless, you also have content, the white seam, black seam compensation, the true seamless experience that one can offer. So it goes back to what Omar has shared, right? I mean, let's say take resolution for, or even TV, for example. 4K has been the buzzword for the past decade, right? While everyone can talk about 4K, 6K, now even some vendor is actually chasing on 8K TV. But does it really mean that the 8K TV in terms of image reproduction is much more superior than a 4K or even a full HD TV? No, it has combination of everything, right? About color reproduction, uniformity, brightness, contrast ratio, the list goes on, right? So it has never been just a single specs, but really the combination, and that is really what TruePix is offering, from the mechanics redesign to the LED precisions to ensure that no LED diode is damaged, to ensure eye fatigue, the Infinix Peak tool in terms of the upscaling, downscaling for the image reproduction and auto calibrations, etc. The list will goes on, right? So this is what I keep on emphasizing. It's about the whole user experience looking at the final product, but not chasing down the specs to say that whether or not if a consumer TV is giving you a 8K, hence it will ensure much more superior viewing experience compared to a full HD TV, right? So a last statement is that 4K consumer TV has been long introduced in the market for more than 10 years, but how many people are actually enjoying the 4K experience? Never. It's the combinations of the few things I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that is a very good point to end the discussion on. The focus should be on experience, right? The technical aspects are our job, but the end user, the viewer, they're not very interested in the technical aspects. They don't want to know these things. They just want an excellent experience. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been lovely chatting with you. The discussion has been very fruitful. I've learned a lot of new things. To all our attendees, thank you for being with us. What we will do right now is I'm going to play a little video that will give you a bit more insight into the Barcode TruePix, which is the new product from Barco. It comes with a lot of these features. It comes with an experience focus as well. This video was from ISE. So in case you weren't in Barcelona and missed out on experiencing the product, you can experience it right now. Again, as Talung mentioned, Barco does have an experience center in Singapore and around Asia Pacific. Feel free to reach out to Barco if you want to go down and experience a lot of these products for yourself. So once again, thank you to our panelists. Thank you for your time and your thoughts. Again, we have a survey. The link is in chat. I've just put it up again, but you can access it in chat. And finally, we have this video that elaborates a bit more on what the TruePix does. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation today, and we will see you for our next one.